What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am JD, and this is Grim Info. So today, I have whipped out my tinfoil hat for my latest video. It looks like I have a silver afro. It looks like I'm a space alien with a space afro. Anyways, so today I want to cover my thoughts on how I see the New World Order taking over our country and how I feel like they are setting us up for a huge fall. I've said many times that the FJB movement is cute. Like I said, it's like watching a brand new puppy try to walk. It's cute. It's adorable. But we are really not focusing on the puppeteer of the entire organization and what's going on. So if anybody's been paying attention to the news recently, everyone has seen the jump in China's military capabilities. Subs that can reach the US. They have now supersonic missiles. Their aggression is off the board. So let's start there. What I see happening in America, and we have a war on many, many different fronts. But let's go back just a little bit to 2016. I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that Donald Trump lost that election. I think that they needed Donald Trump to win. Hillary had too many problems. And I really think that everything with Epstein was unwinding, and everything with Clinton would have thrown a monkey wrench in everything they wanted to do anyways. And they knew how divisive Trump was. So either one of the things that they either used Trump as a useful idiot or he was in on the plan from the get-go. It's kind of funny how some of his children have gotten major lucrative deals after being in the White House, after being, damned so much, but yet still got Silicon Valley deals. Don't know. The fact of the matter that Trump seen a lot of things coming and did nothing about it. So who knows? Maybe we'll never know. But at the end of the day, I honestly feel like Trump did a good job policy-wise. But I do believe that he led us to the well of truth and threw our asses in and left us there. His vice president was a coward, refused to stand. January 6th was an absolute absurdity. It just on its face value was an absurdity. And now more and more proof is coming out that nobody actually did anything. His generals denouncing him and his generals, just going so woke that it was just unreal. So let's go back a little bit. Through the 4 years of President Trump's, even before that, Obama had the IRS targeting all kinds of conservative groups that would give them problems. So what is one of the best ways to weed out your enemy? Is to make your enemy think they've won. So by letting Trump win, they not only had voter rolls that now told them who their enemy were. They then found out who every single person was that voted for Trump. And they know. Why do you, and you can look no further than the Dominion machines who have access to the internet, that they know every vote that came through. So they know. They know who everyone is that voted for Trump. They know that those are their enemies. So then they can surveil them, watch them, find out, are they really an enemy? Are they somebody that's going to give them problems? Is it something they need to take care of? See, anytime that you start a war is always about gathering information. It's always about sizing up your opponent, figuring out where your opponent is at. If you've never actually been into a fight, anybody out there, there's lots of people like to brag, man, I've been in 100 fights. Dude, it's how long did you do? And you ain't never been in a fight, homie. You ain't never been in a fight. And at the end of the day, you're going to size up your opponent. You're going to figure out the way he moves. Is he going to give you problems? How big is he? Is he strong? Is he fat? Is he fast? What's his mind like? Is he just barking a lot? They needed to know their enemy. They was not going to find that out with Hillary. And as a matter of fact, it probably would have ruined their plans to let Hillary win. So I honestly believe that it was more consequential to them to allow Hillary to lose. And Hillary, I think Hillary's in on that. Because then she sat around for 4 years crying and whining, because then they set the narrative up for Trump to do the same thing and everybody throw it under the rug. Because Hillary did the same thing. That's all she did was complain about how the election was stolen from her. And look what happened. I honestly believe it was. I honestly believe it was. And now I don't believe Trump had anything to do with it. I do not believe that he had anything to do with Russia. I don't even want to. So for all the crazy people that think that that's where I'm going with this, no. I honestly don't believe that Trump had anything to do with Russia. Honestly and truthfully, at the end of the day, I think Trump was a useful idiot, to be honest with you, because they have controlled elections for so long, and I think they let him win. I honestly believe they needed him. They needed his divisiveness. And they let him get away with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but they kept everybody in office around him that could keep him under control. Now, whether or not he knew this and went along with the plan or not, I would hope that he didn't. But then again, I don't know. So, we can't trust our government. And at the end of the day, we can't trust anybody that is in government. So I would love to think that Donald Trump is the swamp stomper that he claims to be, but probably not. And I'm just saying, I'm just guessing that. But at the end of the day, they needed to know who their enemy was. So now moving forward. So now we're sitting here with Joe Biden, and we see how, they have allowed Antifa to rise. And, all of his advisors told Trump, no, it's okay. At any point in time, he could have declared martial law and stopped all the cities from burning across the country and solved the problem very fast. But they didn't. They let it go on. They let it go on so that way it normalized it. So that way it crushed the inner cities. I mean, the inner cities are closing their stores. And what's going to happen when the economy crashes, fully crashes, and there are no supplies, there's nothing in your cities? Those people are going to turn into zombies. They're going to kill each other. And then you load those cities down with migrants. And remember this, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never heard TED Talks, you probably should go Google that and listen to Charles Schwab. And this will come up later on, and I will use many points of this. He says that you will own nothing and you will love it. That's because they're going to create hell on earth. And by the time they're done, you're going to be begging for the slavery that they offer you. I promise you that. So that will come up later, and we'll get to that. So they allowed the cities to burn. They allowed absolute absurdity to take place. And it was our politicians that served it. And it was our media that coerced it. And they're still doing as such. Proven by many different outlets, many different alternative news outlets like Project Veritas, InfoWars, Greg Reese. There are so many. David Icke. I mean, it's absurd the level of independent journalism and the job that they've done to show the absurdity. There's so much proof out there. Okay. They hurt people. They destroyed statues. They destroyed everything. At the same time, they're building up 5G, poisoning people through their water and food. Now they're poisoning people with jabs and forcing people to take those. They sized their enemy up very well. At the same time, China was growing, getting stronger. They demoralized. They used psychology to basically, demasculate our men, convince black men. Let me tell you this. There's a reason why they go after black men and white men and keep us one separated, and they try to demasculate us because we are the two of the strongest men type on the planet. By Kappa, we're bigger than everyone else. We're stronger and we're faster for the most part. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. And we're bigger, faster, and stronger. And you know what? So why wouldn't you encourage black men to cut off their balls and make them into women? Why wouldn't you do that? Because they knew they wouldn't go along with it. How many times are they going to attack our black brothers and sisters? How many times are we going to keep letting them do that to them? Now they're coming after whites too. And turning you into the bad guy, the racist that needs to die. And the media sells fear. They have for 4 years. And now it's just going on even stronger with the jab. While countries all around the world fall to this authoritative future, dystopian future that we see coming before us. And this will be the fall of America. And this is exactly what this video is about. And I'm going to lay it right out for you. Because we keep letting them demasculate our men, pump all kinds of chemicals into their food, turn our little boys into walking tampons who need to be coddled for everything they do, while China's young men are learning to kill, use weapons, and understand weapons systems. That's what they're training their young boys to do. China has all but told Hollywood to go F itself, that they don't want them over there teaching their young boys how to be weak, because that's what they've allowed to happen here in America. So think about that over the last 4 years. And then think about where we are today. We have arguments about masks. We have arguments about black versus white. We are so separated, it's unreal. On every single level. Families can't even talk. Families can't even have conversations when there is absolute proof that disprove everything that the media is telling us about everything. And that's coded. So let's hope you understand what I'm talking about. You can just look at Japan and India. Just go look at Japan and India. That's all I gotta say. Or look at the fact of the matter that our politicians are taking other things besides and all our richest people. How are all the richest 1% of people in the world buying up land in New Zealand and creating bunkers, and they're hiding and all that? Because they know. They've used Hollywood to, and if you don't know who Ian Fleming is, you probably should go check out who he is and who his father was. And you probably should go see the movie Moonraker, because we're pretty much living through that, along with the new James Bond film. Do you know the reason why they do this? And I was talking to some people and I was telling them about this. And they said, well, that JD, what you're selling me sounds a lot like a movie. I'm like, well, that's what they use the CIA for. That's why they're there. Because if they can normalize it with you, you'll buy into it. And anybody that tells you it, you'll go, conspiracy theorist. This guy over here is crazy. They would never do that. My government loves me. Do they? Let's measure that up, okay? They slaughtered Indians. Instead of getting them wagons, they made them walk the Trail of Tears that killed so many of our Indian brothers and sisters. Forced them onto lands that were terrible, that they couldn't do anything with. They sat back and put our Asian brothers and sisters in camps during World War II. They then poisoned our African-American brothers and sisters, destroying their families, creating environments where most of them have either become criminals or drug addicts or drug dealers. Doing the same with our white communities. And honestly and truthfully, the poorest of our white communities are mostly Irish. I know, because I'm Irish myself. And I have lived through that, and I completely understand. And it's terrible. We have allowed them to demoralize us. They have allowed the music industry to stomp us down, to treat our women like they're nothing more than ass-shaking objects. At the same time, at uplifting Me Too type movements to make everybody feel bad now for what they've created. At the same time, selling us bullshit and lies through our news every single day. And propaganda through our news media every single day. Every time you turn it on. It's the same thing parroted across the country. There are so many montages that you can look up right now on YouTube and literally see that. You can go look them up. And they will go from coast to coast. It's the same shit, the same thing in every damn network. Because it's propaganda. Same as in the movies. The same movies that try to tell you not to be a man, not to act like a man, not to be tough like a man and have honor and stand on your own 2 feet. It's okay. Where then they try to confuse women and make women and men should be strong together. There should be no weaker sex. But that's exactly the division that they try to create. Just like they try to create the division between white and black. When we are the 2 strongest races, and honestly and truthfully on this planet. And everybody is, they're strong in their own way. But if you look at size, if you look at strength, if you look at speed, we are bigger than all the other races on this planet. And there's a reason why they don't want us coming together. It's the reason why they're tearing down our young men. And there's a reason why they're torturing our children and abusing our children. Why they allowed it to go on in Germany and purposely putting children in homes of sexual predators to fuck with them. That happened. If you cannot go look that up, then don't come on my shit and say a word. Because at the end of the day, it happened. And that's what they are doing to children. Bill Gates is not allowed in 31 countries. In London, they were screaming, arrest him. When he went to go meet with all the Davos group and those people that are sowing all of our tragedy. They are the authors of all of our pain. So if you don't know who Ian Fleming is, you better go check him out. Because the FBI and the CIA use those people to sell you propaganda by the truckloads through movies. So that way, when they do what they're doing, you just throw it away because you don't want to see it, because that is a conspiracy theorist. So Joe Biden is crushing our economy. Shelves are bare. And at the same time, instead of us all standing up and saying enough is enough as they torture our children with masks, they tell you one mask is good enough. Then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4. You take one jab. That ain't good enough. You got to have a booster. Why? Why do I have to have a booster? You do. You got 3. You got to have 4. Now they have in plans and works to take pills twice a day. Now you have no more paper passport. You're not allowed to leave the country without a blood test. What do you think they're doing? They've already created a civil war. There's a civil war going on right now in this country. We have division all over the place. Hate the police. Antifa, which I hate. I hate Antifa. I hate everything they stand for. Every fucking thing. Black Lives Matter I could get behind if it was a grassroots and wasn't ran by, one of the biggest racists there is, George Soros, and funded by him. I could get behind Black Lives Matter. Because you know what? In my opinion, all lives matter. But you know what? What our politicians in our country has done to the black community, black lives do matter. And we do have to find a way to heal our country. And it's not through division. It's through unity. That's how we get better. That's how we stop this. But I don't see that happening. So that's where I'm about ready to get into what I see happening. I see China using something, because also China was also planned to do training about 200 miles away from the US border in Canada. They're coming for us. And all you Antifa members that sit back, I love the sickle and hammer. They're going to kill you first. You know what? That's fine. The CCP wants to come over here and put a bullet in my head. I'm cool. Just let me watch those assholes die first. That's all I'm asking. Let me watch it first. But we probably won't know. And let's be honest about that. Because I see China using their supersonic missiles to create an EMP over our country, probably on the West Coast, as they then bring their subs that cannot be, which they'll take Hawaii first. They'll take Hawaii first. And then they'll come for the West Coast. And before we know it, they'll be probably halfway through Texas before people actually know what's going on. And then at that point, the rest of us will be under martial law and lockdown because we got hit by something. They'll probably blame it on the sun. That's the reason why they've been sitting around for years saying, we're going to get hit by a sunbeam. There's a sunbeam, a sunspot. It's going to hit us because that's what they're going to use. That's what they're going to use. I can almost guarantee it. They're going to use it. They're going to do it during the day so that way you don't see the supersonic missile hit and explode in midair. So that way people think it's the sun. And then when all the communications and everything goes down, it will redirect everybody to one internet source that tells you that you are under martial law to stay in your homes. Then they will come through with the military and their metal robots to take your guns. And they will kill you. And then before you know it, the country will be under UN control. That's the reason why the UN has a military base in West Virginia. That's the reason why they put that there. Okay? If you don't know, you better go check it out. Because at the end of the day, they are coming for us. And they're not going to stop. Murderers and psychos don't stop when you scream it hurts. Okay? Doesn't happen. And that's exactly how America is going to fall. And before you know it, and then when everybody resists, you'll either be killed or you'll be put into a camp. That's what's going to happen. They will remove you from your homes. So not only will you be fighting a war with your family because they refuse to listen to you because you may see the writing on the wall, but then you'll be fighting a war with all the Haitians and all the Afghans that are that not all of these people are terrible, but they're letting the most terrible among these people come to our country, which they will turn our neighborhoods and our cities into war zones. Because when they starve you this winter and you're because I don't see this happening till spring. I honestly think they'll wait till I think it'll be 2022 spring. I think they'll let the winter go through. Everyone with ADE will be, dying because they need this separation. Because see, at the end of the day, they do want cooperation from the future slaves that they want to keep. So all of the people in the shield in place things that they're prepping, the reason why they're lying on The View, removing people off of shows and all of that bullshit, so that way they can normalize this behavior. Understand, it's psychology. They use psychology to normalize behavior. It's the reason why they use movies. It's the reason why they use these TV shows. It's the reason why they do all this shit. They have sportscasters tell you this shit. Everything that you're watching is propaganda. Everything. And it's all CIA and FBI controlled. Ran by the Davos Group, Charles Schwab, the IMF, the World Bank, George Soros, Bill Gates, and all these motherfuckers, all these people. That's who it's ran by. Okay? That's who it's ran by. These people believe that they want to achieve godhood through technology and that the planet needs to be depopulized. Because they believe that they're going to get to live forever and they don't want us useless eaters using up all their resources. They want to be able to control all of it so they can live forever. Because they know that the galaxy is vast and they know the chances of them finding another place like Earth is very far and few in between. And being able to reach it is even harder. And they know that. They know that. And if you believe, and if you don't believe that, then you're crazy. Because that's the truth. We should take better care of our planet. But we cannot let these eugenicists destroy all of us so that way, because they think they're the gods of this planet. And that's exactly what's going on. So they will give in to China and Russia, and they will let them have their slice of the pie at the same time that they get to depopulate the world. And that's exactly what's going on. So once China hits us with their supersonic missile, I think what they're going to do is create an EMP that pretty much takes out half the country. And then the other half of the country will be martial law lockdown. And then they'll come through, take all the guns. They're using their little dog robots and all that to come through and kill people. And that will be the second phase of their war. Because like I said, the civil war is going on right now. It's an ideological war and a culture war. And that's exactly the reason why we need to end it and all stand up together and say no. So this is where it gets into Plandopolis. If you don't know what Plandopolis is, you better go check it out. In Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030, they want this done because they said everybody's going to die by 2030. Well, why do you think? Because this is the plan. This is the plan. So by the time the winter goes by and everybody's ADE kicks in and they're dying, and then what will happen is the same thing that they did to the Jews. Your neighbors, when you are unjabbed, will be standing out there screaming, "That's right, get out of here. You're the one causing us not to have any products, and we're starving, and we're hungry, and oh my God, and those people are over here, they came over here and they're killing us and they're raping us, and you voted for Trump, and it's all your fault," because that's what the media says to them. And they're ignorant and they don't know how to go objectively get information. So they're going to buy into it because they're brainwashed. And they want their movies, and they want their football, and they want their baseball, and they want all of that. And they don't realize that they're not ever going to get that back. It's a lie. It's a lie. These people are like magicians. They're sitting here showing you this fancy trick. They're like, woo! And everybody's like, I want that! While they're not watching what's going on over here. Because they're brainwashed. That's what's wrong with them. So while that's going on, and they're cheering at you being put on buses or being taken out in your front yard and shot in front of everybody, which is what China and Russia is going to do. So you better hope you're in the part of the country where it's the UN that's doing it, because they're just going to put you in camps, which is worse because they're going to be forced labor camps. I'd rather honestly just be shot in my front lawn, to be honest. And if you think that you're going to run out to the woods, I've had this conversation with many people, and they sit back and go, well, that's all right, man. They can come over here all they want. I'm just going to run out into the woods. Well, yeah, good luck. Ask the Afghans how that worked out for them, because all they did was send drones over and bomb their asses. So, there is no running from this, America, at all. This will pass. This will happen. Because at the end of the day, we've allowed it to happen. We've allowed it because so many dumbass people in our country sat around going, I don't care about politics. I don't get into it. I don't pay no attention to politics. Don't talk to me about politics. Yeah, well, guess what? You should have been paying attention, because you allowed people to come to power who want you dead and are willing to do anything to make it happen. And they are. So once those people have cheered you being taken away or shot in your front yard, then they will be all bust into camps and bust into new towns where all of those people will live, because that's the reason why. That's the reason why Bill Gates has bought up all the land in America and all the farmland. Isn't that weird? So that is how I see it going, America. That is exactly how I see it going. And, may it happen that way? No, I don't know. But I see it going that way because, honestly, I'm a pretty strategic guy. And if I was going to do it, that's how I'd do it, because that's the easiest way to do it. You use a biological weapon to fool people into fear. Use the media to do it. Use music, video games, and everything else, pop culture. Use everything you can to retard people to sleep. And then that way, when you come down the block, everybody on your side, you can get them to do evil things because they think that they're doing it for a righteous reason, that they're actually saving something when they're actually just slaughtering people wholesale. And that will happen because they need America to fall. See, what you don't understand is America was never supposed to be. There's no country like America in the world. America was never supposed to happen. And we did. By the grace of God, we did. And now we are about ready to let that go because we've become heathens. And this is the reason why Charles Schwab says that you will own nothing and you will be happy. Because once you experience starving, watching your neighbors maybe be raped by immigrants, just like the lady that was raped on the Philadelphia train, and nobody did a fucking thing about it, you will beg for the control that they bring you. You will beg for the slavery that they bring you, because it means the end to all of that. But it's only the beginning of your terror, because that's when you take the mark of the beast. I believe that the 7-year war is coming. That will take us to 2030. And at the end of this, I don't think there's a way out of it, because so many people are going to attack. If people do see this, people are going to attack me for it. And I hope they do, because they're ignorant. And I hope they live long enough to see it happen. Now, will it happen exactly the way? No, I don't know. But just understand, China has subs that can get to America without being detected. And I think that that's what they're going to do. And then they'll bring in their ships and everything else. But they're going to use that supersonic missile to create an EMP blast over America. And they will do it during the day. And then they'll blame it on a sun ray or a sun spot or whatever the hell it is that they've been going on about for like 12 years. So, and I believe that that's what they plan on doing. After they get done killing everybody else, and they get done letting people die from ADE and allowing people to starve, and they allow people to, fight out in the streets and be murdered, because the cities are going to turn into war zones. That's the reason why they allowed Antifa to do what they wanted. Because there will be no food. There will be no stores left in these cities. Understand that. There will be nothing left in these cities except for war zones. So America, there is one way out of this. And that's, we have to realize and see the writing on the wall. Is it going to happen exactly how I said? No, I don't know. But that's the best option that I see happening. Because Honore and Milley already did this. They already test ran it in Katrina. And they took everybody's guns and killed people that wouldn't give them up. But you didn't hear about that, did you? Because the media covered it up for them. And that was on American soil. But Donald Trump is the worst thing ever, huh? No, he's not. And at the end of the day, we should have stopped Antifa a long time ago. They are the anchor that is poking holes in the ship and dragging us to the bottom of the ocean with them. We have got to unify and stand up together. And that's the reason why I always say at the end of my videos, man, documentation beats conversation. Love your family, pop a knee, talk to God. We need to come together because there is no way out of this except for standing together and peacefully resisting together. We have the power to shut our country down and take our power back. And we need to do that because they are using every tool against us they can to manipulate us and to control us. And the longer that we let it go on, the worse it's going to be. And I see this future coming to pass. And I honestly believe that it will. They have an agenda and they plan on sticking to it, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to let them win? Or are we going to stand up and say, hell no? Because right now is that time to do that. So like always, I may not agree with you, but I love you, America. And I love every single one of my brothers and sisters that call red, white, and blue home. We have to stand up now and we have to take our country back. I don't care what's going on. Drop what you're doing. Your job means nothing when it compares to our children and our grandchildren's lives. We have got to protest and stand up against this. And then the true demon will show its head. And we may have a fighting chance at that point. If not, our children are going to die in the streets with us. Most of us will fight. We will probably all die because I refuse to be a slave. What about you? Have a good night, America.